Just here at my desk, wrapping up some UI wireframes that I need to send over shortly on this Friday afternoon to a client for their review and approval, hopefully. And as I was putting this together, it really just got me thinking that the reason why so many business websites feel generic and cheap, quite frankly, and just very cookie cutter is the fact that they skip over the fundamentals of good UI design. So in this vlog, I figured I'd take you a bit behind the scenes in my process as I finish up these UI wireframes and just explain what the core essentials you need to nail if you want to actually design a beautiful, highly functioning marketing website. If you're a business owner or a marketing director, this video is going to show you exactly what to look for when it comes to actually developing a strong design. This way, you don't waste money on a website that just looks pretty but fails to actually convert. And if you're a fellow web designer or developer, this is going to hopefully clearly explain to you what goes into creating effective web designs, and hopefully you'll be able to pick up a few tips and tricks to implement into your own process. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent full stack marketing strategist living in Denver, Colorado, working with my clients on branding, web design and development projects, and ongoing marketing retainers. Technically, this is a part 2 because I already vlogged the US wireframe design process. So if you haven't seen that video, yet you're interested in what that looks like, along with how I'm using AI to dramatically speed up and improve that part of the web design process, definitely go check it out. But first, I wanted to go over just exactly where we are in the process here. So the UI wireframe I have just finished up. I only send over the homepage at this part in the process, even though as part of this contract, I need to mock up actually every single page the website's going to feature, but it's only a 4 or 5 page website. So I'm going to send over the homepage. I do that because this just gives the client a clear sense of the design direction we're going in. And then still at this part of the process, we still have plenty of time to make changes if that's needed. So essentially, this is a very good middle ground to start to check in with the client on. Like I said, I need to send over a video screen recording presentation just to give the clients an overview on the design and present my rationales clearly. So that's what we're going to get started with now. All right, so the presentation is done. It's about as painless as it could have been. And now real quick, I wanted to show you how I'm editing stuff in Descript these days, because there's a bunch of cool AI features I'm using that have dramatically improved my video editing workflow, both for the YouTube videos like this, as well as when I need to make client screen recording presentations. This is how Descript works. So it basically generates a transcript of everything you say, and then you can edit the video. There you go. There's your sneak peek of the UI wireframe. That's all I can show you for now. And basically, I wanted to get into these AI tools. So basically, we have these AI tools section here. Try to zoom in. And number one thing I want to always do is just remove the filler words. So that's like the uhs and ums and stuff you say. So we'll remove that. Then we want to get rid of the word gaps because that's like dead space essentially. So again, we will do that. And then finally, the last thing I'll usually do is I will remove the retake. So this is like when I start and stop saying something. Sometimes I kind of do it on purpose. It'll usually take a couple seconds here, but you should see in a second, it'll have all the different things. So these are all the retakes, and then we want to copy these edits to a new composition. So you can see and this is the one I'm going to edit, so I need to review this and edit it. So that's how I'm using Descript to dramatically speed up my editing process. I plan to do a much more in-depth video, but that's basically how I start every single video edit. Now it's time to edit, send it off to the client, and then we'll be good to wrap up early on this Friday. In preparation for this video, I put together 5 key elements for effective UI design that I wanted to talk through briefly here. Nail these 5 elements and you will be well past 90% of other websites on the internet today. No question in my mind. Starting number 1 with the color scheme. This to me is probably the most important thing, at least initially, to actually hook people in and capture their attention. You want a color scheme that, like I said, is actually going to capture people's attention. You don't want to be dull and bland here. Nothing is going to be less effective from a marketing standpoint than that. Colors are what set the mood for the entire website. So you want to make sure that they're all complementary and are well coordinated. Now, what I don't think gets talked about enough though is that you want the colors to actually have a psychological reinforcement of your marketing message. So for example, blue, which is my favorite color, is well known that it communicates trust and approachability and professionalism, for example. So if you're a law firm, you probably would want to lead into blue. However, colors that are brighter and bolder, so think like red or orange, for example, those colors communicate excitement, passion, energy. So for example, when it came time for me in one of my past client projects to design a website for a guided rock, ice, and alpine climbing, we went with an orange dominated color scheme because that's exactly what psychologically communicated the excitement we were bringing to those clients and customers. So whatever color scheme you go with, it's got to be eye-catching, it's got to be bold, and also it's key in my view that it subtly psychologically reinforces your brand's marketing and positioning strategy. Another key UI design element you cannot overlook is going to be the fonts. Whatever you do, please do not just select boring, generic Google fonts that are seen on the vast majority of websites. If you want to just blend in with the crowd, sure, go for it. But if you want to stand out and add a lot of extra design value in a minimalist, subtle way, then you have to invest in custom fonts. For example, in the UI wireframes I literally just sent to this client, we are using a highly stylized serif font, or at least that's what I'm proposing for now. And you can see in the website, hopefully you can see a little sneak peek of the section right below the hero. That font adds so much design value that it literally makes sense for the entire section in this case to just be one of the main value propositions we're trying to communicate. So when you have a well-designed, stylized font, it does a lot of the design heavy lifting for you, and you don't need to go crazy with a bunch of other crazy colors or textures. You can have the fonts add a lot of design value. All right, third thing, and this is probably the most overlooked part, is going to be the photography and image style direction you go with. So nothing is going to cheapen the look and feel of your website more than boring, generic stock photos, or what's probably even worse is AI generated photos that look like they're trying to be realistic, but they have like this fake sheen. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. But basically, that's just going to cheapen the look. Now, in this case, with this client, we are actually using Midjourney to mock up hundreds of images. We're going for this unique, artistically styled design. So that's something, though, where I think Midjourney makes sense for if you're going with illustrations. In the past, I would have had to hire an illustrator for this project. That would have cost me thousands of dollars. Now I'm getting away with it by just having the $30 basic Midjourney plan. So that is key, I think, is the photos that are featured on your website. For example, I work with a lot of architecture and interior design type companies, and I'm always telling those clients, you need to invest in hiring a professional photographer, and then that way, the website is just going to have way more design value when you actually take the time to invest in professional photography. So even if you're just like a regular accounting firm, for example, hire a photographer to come in, shoot people at their desk, working, conference room shots, everything. Trust me, it makes a huge, huge difference. And even if you're a solopreneur, creative person, maybe even work from home, spend the money, book a co-working space or some other photo shoot place, have a photographer follow you around, get those professional shots taken. It's gonna make a huge difference, believe me. Another thing that you can add to your website, especially if you want to avoid being mistaken as being like a templated type design that you just cloned, that's going to be adding background textures and other sorts of background elements. This is just going to add a lot more depth to your website, and I say that this is going to help you not be mistaken for some sort of just template, because those templates often don't have these types of textures. So this is another way where you can add a tremendous amount of design value to the website. You can really achieve a very unique look. It's going to be much more visually interesting, and it's really going going to show that your company cares about design. It's just going to elevate everything, and it's going to add for a much more premium look and feel. And then lastly, and this is not design per se, but I think it's very important, especially in this case when I went to just go present these UI wireframes to the clients, you need to actually have completed copy. Now, generally I get this done in the UX design phase, so that's already been handled a couple weeks ago at this point in this project, but it's very important for the client to be able to visualize the design by having the finalized copy, or at least the proposed finalized copy, because if they don't have that, it's very hard for them to really picture the final product in their head. And then also for you as a designer here, if you don't have the finished copy, it's very hard to know how to actually lay out the design, what colors to go with, and just put everything together. So in my view, the copy is essential. And furthermore, honestly, the copywriting is probably more important than the design itself. I always tell my clients, the design is what's going to get people drawn in and engage with the website, but ultimately it is the copy that is going to convert visitors into paying clients. So please do not overlook the importance of the copywriting effectiveness of your website. Now listen, if you are considering a new or redesigned website and want to pick my brain on your project, check out the link in the description. There's an interactive video form. Takes about 5 minutes to fill out, but gives me all the information I need about your project to see if we might be a good fit to work together. And if we are, if you're qualified, you'll be able to book time directly on my calendar. And in the strategy call, I will take the time to learn all about your marketing and sales goals so that I can outline a complete branding, web design and development, and ongoing digital marketing strategy. So ultimately you can grow your brand awareness online, generate leads, and of course increase revenue. Check out the link in the description. Otherwise, I appreciate you watching the video. Definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are liking these videos, because I'm putting out 3 videos a week. We're not fooling around here. And every single week, essentially, I'm looking for at least one talking head style video, one vlog style video like this, and then a screen recording style video. So it doesn't always work out that way, but that's generally the format I'm looking to go at, covering branding, web design development, and digital marketing. So subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll try to get back to you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Take it easy.